Okay, so here we are. We are rally racing with the G29. I'm going to be using the shifter because, of course, I'm running the Mustang, and the Mustang is, of course, my favorite vehicle. I have one in real life, roughly the same year as this one. So, of course, I'm going to be using the shifter. Now, how does the G29 perform in a rally race? So of course it is a force feedback wheel, which means that you are going to get a hell of a workout running a rally race. Now the thing with GT Sport, which is the game that we are playing right here, you don't have to use the clutch, surprisingly, when it comes to using the shifter, while other games like Project Cars, you will be using the clutch. So make sure that you've got a good setup with that. As you can see, there's a lot of force feedback with this wheel coming down to the different jumps as well as the material that the track is made out of. You're going to notice that when you're getting, at least in this game, when you're getting onto the grass, it gets a little bit more fluid, while when you're running on the gravel like I am right now, it's going to be a little bit more rougher on the wheel. And as you can see, when you're in the air, you are going to be, there we go, that's a fantastic run. When you're in the air, you've got basically free play. And then, as always, when you're off-roading, you want to turn before you get to your turn. You do not want to turn right at your turn like I did there, or else you're going to spin out like I almost did there. And then if you want to get around the corners quicker, you can go to a lower gear, but if you've got cars around you, you probably don't want to hit them, especially if you're online. I'm not online right now. Oh, did not take that turn right, but you want to take those turns with a little bit of a higher gear, so you can really actually pull away from the, oh no, that didn't work out right. But basically, with a higher gear, you're not going to be spinning out as much, so you won't be hitting those cars, for one, but you're going to be also able to control where you want to go a little bit easier, and generally they'll be spinning out anyways. So you'll have a little bit more traction than they do, so you can pull away from them a little bit easier, like I did there. I'm in 5th place. I've just finished my third lap, or going on to my third lap. Now, what you will find with the G29 is that it does pop a lot. Those pops are basically, it's a belt-driven steering wheel versus the others that have like a mechanical system in there. Or sorry, it's not a belt-driven system, it's a gear-driven system. The belts don't tend to slip. Oh, I want 4th. Shit. Sorry to that robot that I just hit. That's essentially what it is. And then when you're going around turns, you want to lay off the gas just a bit. Now, the G29 does not come standard with the shifter. It is an extra option. I've mentioned that in a few other videos. So if you find that you drive a lot of cars that have a shifter, you don't have to worry. You can still use the paddle shifters. I do use the paddle shifters when I'm using like Lamborghinis and cars like that, because of course they do have those in real life. I like to try and keep it as lifelike as possible. GT Sport does allow you to use the clutch if you wanted, but if you don't want to, which I don't, because it just pushes the pedals too far forward, as I was mentioning earlier, You want to make sure that you've got a setup that works for you. I've got this thing resting up against a box. So that's the reason why I personally don't use the clutch in GT Sport, because you don't have to. Oh, no, 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 not this wall again. I keep on hitting the same effing wall. That's my beef with GT Sport, is they don't actually have damage on their cars. They want their cars to look pristine throughout the whole race. Apparently that's because some car manufacturers do not want their cars to look all damaged, which I don't blame them, but at the same time it would make the game more lifelike, because let's face it, if you hit a wall in real life, you're dead. Especially if you're traveling at 100 miles an hour like I am right now. So I'm currently in third. And I've never messed up that. Damn. But we're okay. Now, the nice thing with the G29 steering wheel, like if you're drifting in real life, it will actually it'll actually force itself the other direction, which is fantastic, because then you can control the corners, unlike I just did there, but you'll be able to control the corners a little bit better, which is nice. So it gives you the same, very similar feedback as what you would have on a real life car steering wheel, which is really nice. A lot of people, when you're drifting, or even in video games like we're using the G29 here, they don't let the steering wheel allow it to have a mind of its own. They want to control like exactly everything that it's doing. And that's just wrong. You don't really want to do that in real life or in video games. The steering wheel helps you a ton when you're drifting. Like I drift my 09 Escape in the snow and have zero issues. Gives the same feedback as the steering wheels here. The 09 Escape I've got is 4-wheel drive, so that's why I'm able to drift, if you're wondering. I know not all Escapes are 4-wheel. Actually has a rust issue right now I'm trying to fix. If you know of any good rust repair centers in Ontario, let me know in the comment section below. You probably just heard my computer say it's 4 o'clock. It's currently 4 o'clock. But we are second last lap. I'm in second place. I don't think I'm doing all that bad. I've hit a few walls. But I really like this steering wheel. I've had the pleasure of using the actual GT Sport steering wheel. I've tested out the Thrustmaster steering wheel. I used to work at a job that sold all this stuff, and I like the Logitech the best, not just because of the price. It's only like a $400 steering wheel versus the others that are ridiculously priced up here in Canada. And what I mean by ridiculously priced, I think the GT Sport... You asshole! I think they're like in the $500–600 range. The Thrustmasters are up in like the $1,000 range. So you're getting a forced feedback steering wheel for technically a really good price, even though it's not as cheap as some of those $100 steering wheels. But those $100 steering wheels do not give you the forced feedback, as you can see this one is doing. Oh, I'm going to catch up to that guy. I'm not letting him get away with hitting me and making me from first into second. I'm going to win this race. This race is mine. Oh no! I almost had him. Anyways, I hope that you've enjoyed this rally review. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys again next time. Oh man, I was like a half a second away from first.